I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. This is the Billionaire Brown experience. Let's go.
It's ph.com. So that's JayBez Publishing House. So it's publisher at jaybezph.com. Just simply send an email inquiry or go on the website and under the contact page, just send an inquiry saying you want the free information and I'll send it to you. And once you look at it and you say, hey, I'm ready to move on to the next step, then let's talk. We'll set up a free consultation. And I'll go over all of the process with you. I'll go over what you can expect. And then if it's something that you like, take advantage of it. If not, that's fine. You know, there are many publishers out here that you can cross, you know, you can study with. But please do that before you talk to me. Because I value time is so important to me. Like I don't give it up easily. It is something that's the only thing in the whole world that I can control is my time.
Absolutely. And I self-published my first book, the Silver Dollar ebook. Les Brown put the forward on it. But I always, Aaron, you just spoke about price and say, hey, just do it. I try to make sure that all of our listeners always know that you may agree with it, you may not. But I say if you want to be the best, you have to invest. Yeah. I also say if you want to get something done, it has to get done. Either you got to do it yourself or you got to pay someone to do it for you.
Absolutely.
That it's as simple as that. Now, out of this investment, what is one of the most gratifying things that you've received from one of your previous clients or current clients that really put you in awe, like made you feel good? Because although you get paid to do this, and we get paid to do this, right? But so there's something that happens that money, there's a feeling that happens that money can't give you sometimes in our career with our clients. Mm-hmm. Is there a client that you helped that has stuck with you that really assured you like, wow, this is really why I do this? If so, what was it? And tell us a little bit about that.
I have a client who was actually my first client. I was ghostwriting for her. And she had a son who was murdered 12 years prior. She had been trying to write a book and just couldn't get her thoughts. And every time she went to write it, it was too difficult to do. So she hired me, and she had basically like a blurb, a paragraph, but she also had a book of her memories of her son. And so we would meet once every 2 weeks in person, and I would interview her and just talk to her about the experience. When we finished, we had 15 chapters, and I also converted it into and created a workbook companion for parents who have experienced this trauma, this unexpected event. Her son was a all-star basketball player on a scholarship they even made a scholarship in his name at Temple University. And today she is traveling around into women's prisons and ministries, ministering to women. Her book is a gateway. It has become a key to get her in the doors and with people that she would have never met, and receiving healing for so many families in so many ways. That has been rewarding. I also have an author who came to me on the flip side who had been writing for years about something called an annulment because she'd been married 4 times. And she wanted to write about all these bad experiences and things that happened to her. And when she gave it to me, it was about 300 pages. So my writing team and I sat together and went through it, and we pulled out all the repetition. We pulled together, and this is the coaching part, where we pulled together and we noticed a common thread was it wasn't the men in her life that were to blame, so to speak. It was her pain, her not owning her own role in her pain was causing her to attract this, to give off this energy that was putting her in this environment that was toxic for her, because it was this 15-year-old little girl that was crying out. She's now 54, and she keeps repeating this same abuse, this same cycle. And so we were able to minimize the content and draw it out and paint and tell her picture, tell her story in a very clear and true way without taking away from what happened. And she read it, and she began to be healed from it. It was her story in a way she'd never heard before. It was her words, but we just brought out the same thing she said differently. And now she is competent and goes out and ministers to other women who are broken and in broken relationships. And now she's healed from that. She has a better relationship with her son. So when I hear those rewarding stories, that's what I'm about. That's what I'm here for. To be able to tell someone's story responsibly without hurting the people who hurt them. And then I'll absolutely refuse to do anything that does damage someone's reputation. I had a person who hired me to help her write a book. She'd already written it, and she just wanted me to coach her through it and get her to the publishing point. Well, I said, well, I can't help you with that because you want to tell a story about a man who is a celebrity, and he is now no longer doing those things that he did to you. This was 30 years ago. You're now far removed from this, and he's gone on with his life with his wife and children, and here you are about to open up a can of worms. I can't be a part of that. I can't participate in that. So she was upset with me, and she said, well, give me my money back. I was happy to give her money back. I couldn't wait to give it to her. And once I gave it to her, I was done, and she went back and told somebody, you probably don't want to work with him, X, Y, and Z. And it came back to me. I was like, okay, whatever. I just keep it moving because I live in truth. You can live down any lie. And then she went to someone else, and they turned her around and told her I was right, and that she shouldn't publish it. Well, she regretted the relationship, the way she handled me. She published it anyway and was humiliated and embarrassed. And to this day, you don't even know about it because it didn't move off the shelf. So
cold on the shelf. Cold.
It didn't even get on the shelf. And that's what, so I have to know, there are people I work with that are not so competent. I don't work with them. If I have a feeling about a person and I know that this isn't going to go well because I know my personality and I know how I am with authors and clients, I won't work with them. I don't care how much money it is. So I'm not about making money, but I'm about making money. I'm about making money that makes sense, not about frustration. I'm not just going to take a client because I need something. I don't have a need. Clients can't meet my needs.
I love it. What is something? What's a unique phone? What was the most? Well, no, maybe not the most unique, but what is some things that people contact you for work that we may not know that people use writers for?
Secret things, right?
Yeah.
Other than resumes, I also do speeches. I do a lot of resumes. I do speeches, but I also do academic papers.
All right, what do you mean by academic papers?
Classwork, essays.
For what grades? You talking about college?
10th grade, 12th grade, sophomores, PhDs, seminary, academics, major college, small college, high school, whatever. If it requires words and writing, I can help you with it.
Singers?
Now, I haven't done much music, but I would love to do that. I would love to do some ghostwriting for some singers.
Wow. Resumes?
Oh, yeah, I do resumes. I do speeches. I do biographies. I do funerals. Like, for example, if you want to...
Funeral?
Like a person died and they need a bio or...
a eulogy?
Yeah, I do that. Right, they give me the bullet points of their life, and then I put it together, and then they publish it in the program for the service. And those are small things that families often need for, and I don't usually charge for that. Usually it's more than likely it's someone I know who had a loss and they know I write and they want to know, can you help us put this program together? And so I'll do that. So some ad hoc things that I do for free. Depends on.
Has anybody ever asked you for vows? Help with vows?
I've had vow renewals. I've had poems, creating poems. I had that. I've had, I'm going to get, usually like a monologue. So there's a celebration happening in the spring, I think, and there's a 7-minute monologue that they want, like an opening, like an Academy Award type event. So they want me to write the monologue. So they give me the bullet points of the person being honored, and then I put the script together, and that goes on the teleprompter. And then they get up and they read the teleprompter.
I often hear, I mean, I don't write. I'm not a writer. But I do write, but I'm not not like on your level. But I'm curious to know, there's always that old term. People have writer's block. I've heard some people say it's real. I've heard some people say it's not. What is your take on writer's block And is writer's block real?
No.
And if it is, what is it?
Not real for me. I don't expect.
So how do you get past writer's block, or what people call writer's block?
Well, when you are creative, you operate in a flow. You have to be in an environment of creativity. There are things that happen that causes your creativity to be stunted. So whether that is real life trauma, it could be stress from jobs, bills, all of those things that are distracting. You'll find that when you are in a quiet place, that's when you flow the most. You may write. I've written a book in 7 days from just having a quiet place. And then I've started some things, like a couple of chapters, and then haven't been able to get back to it because life is happening. So when people are experiencing those things, they just need to reduce the stress, reduce the levels of stress and all of the competing interests that makes creativity impossible. And they don't. Once they realize that there's a creative genius in them, and there's supernatural intelligence that requires an atmosphere, then they'll just create the atmosphere so that they can flow. But when they don't know that, they get frustrated and they call it writer's block. And that's my strong opinion about it.
All right, let's go back to this. You throw in little things, and I got to make sure that I catch them while I remember it. You just said you could write a book in 7 days.
Yeah.
Is that just for yourself, or can you help us write a book in 7 days?
Yeah. If I'm paid in full, I can write a book as fast as you can pay me. If you want to pay me once a week or once a month, then I'm gonna give you what you pay for. So if you want to, for example, if I say I'm going to write 2,500 words and it's going to cost this, then if that's what it's in your budget, that's all I'm going to write. But if you say I need this book, like I wrote 3 books that were due in 45 days, and I was ghostwriting, and I had the notes to transcribe things, and then I had then some of it I just had to redo, redesign, reformat, all of those things. But in 45 days, I did 3 of those books, and it was about 30,000 words altogether. And that was between working a full-time job, running a business, working with other clients, and having a family, and still carving out that time for creativity, as I just shared with you, and to be able to come in my office and steal away time to punch those words out for me. So I was paid, and I was paid an expedited fee. They needed it for a conference, and I did it. And yes, I can do that for myself in 7 days. I've done 5 days.
Wow, that's
what you want, because all books are not novels. All books are not 200, 300 word, Harry Potter books. There are some books that are ebooks. They're learning materials. They are resources. They are training manuals. You could be a barber and you just want to teach a barber about how to stay booked. So you may have 4 steps to staying booked to keeping a calendar. And so we can just go through. I could do that today. I've gone on YouTube and transcribed I think it was an hour recording, and transcribed it for an author. That took me all of 5 hours to do that, and so it depends on how fast I'm paid and what's on my schedule.
What about blogging? Do you help people with blogging or no?
No, I haven't. I've been looking into the possibility of doing it, but I haven't. What I would like to do is take people who blog, and convert those blogs into books. That's what I like to do.
What about articles?
Oh, I've drafted articles and columns, yeah.
Okay. So you would like to take bloggers to turn, but some of these bloggers are doing like blogs like twice a week.
Yeah, that doesn't matter how often they're turning them around. I can take what they have and create books out of them. You can have an ebook series. You can have 10 ebook series that could be about 12 pages each. And so maybe you're the expert on finance. And so you're doing, like right now, one of my new clients is a financial expert, and he's been writing articles from 2011 once a month, and he archived them on his computer. Well, I can take each one of those articles and turn it into an ebook, depending on how long it is, or I can combine the content so that it's consistent and make a book out of it. When with ebooks, you don't have the same reporting requirements as you do with a paperback book or a hardcover book. So with ebooks, you can do less, and you don't have that minimum page count. For example, if you were publishing a paperback book, it would have to be a minimum of 101 pages before it can even go to the printer. Now, there are some that will do 70 or 80, but you're going to pay more. So when you do, so that's what I do the background stuff, and I can look at something based on the word count and tell you how many pages it's going to be in a 5x8 or 6x9 or 7x10, or however you want to see it. Or I can look at what you have and see how you can do one chapter can be an ebook, or you can have 12, a book that's 12 chapters can actually be 12 books, or you can have your ebooks converted into books. So I can do many things. And so blogging is what I'm looking for next. That is, if you're blogging and you're listening to this and you want to convert your blogs into books, I can help you.
Okay. Here's a question for our young people as we're winding down. Mm-hmm. A question for our young people who may aspire to become writers. Mm-hmm. What do you do to practice? Like what do you do to practice? Like a singer does do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. They do that, right? Basketball player practices, right? What does a writer do to practice?
I don't think writers aren't cookie cutter. It varies with each writer. Your inspirations are different. So what I found in my experience, and I didn't know I was practicing, is I would write wrestling stories. So I liked WWF when I was growing up, and I couldn't read. So my mother would buy me wrestling books because she knew I would read the captions under the pictures. And she assumed that if I was drawn in enough by the caption, it'll make me read the story. So that's when it worked, because I started to read the stories and I started to get the animation in. And so I began to write my own wrestling stories with my wrestling man. I didn't even know wrestling was scripted when I was writing my own scripts for my wrestlers. And so once I found out Vince McMahon owned the WWF and everything, I was like, wow, I didn't even know. But I was doing that. Anytime something would come up or I would have a thought about something, I would just write it down, and I didn't see it as practicing. And of course, I wasn't trying to publish it. I throw it away when I was done with it. But those experiences grew, and that's how poetry came out of me. And that being able to express myself poetically, or being able to tell a story responsibly. All of those things came out of it was just natural for me. I didn't have to, like, if you're a mechanic, you just fix things. It's just in you. Like, if my brother, he's a barber, so the first thing he's going to look at when he sees you is your headline. And he's going to say, who did that? That's his thing. And I'm not going to see the headline. I'm going to see, who are you as a person? And then what do you bring to the table? What do you offer? And how can I help you monetize on that? So if there are many people who own businesses and don't even know it. I didn't know that writing and publishing would be as easy for me to do as it is. It just became easy because that's just was always in me to do.
Greatest writer of all time is?
Wow. Now, if I said Vince McMahon, then you would laugh. I'm talking about writing the wrestling scripts because he tricked. I don't know. I don't know who that would be. I don't know, because I remember I told you I wrote.
Or who's your favorite? Who's your favorite writer?
Favorite writer. I enjoy Bishop T.D. Jakes' writing. I enjoy, because he writes his own books. He doesn't have a ghostwriter. He's one of the few who write his own books.
I'm reading right now.
He writes his own books in his house. And so I enjoy that because I enjoy originality. Just like I enjoy soul food because it's made from scratch. Versus I don't like pies that are store-bought or cakes that are store-bought. I like things that people make originally. So whenever there's like Shonda Rhimes, I enjoy the content because I know she's hands-on. She's not just executive producing it. She's engaged in it. I could say Aaron Spelling, but he wasn't as engaged or involved with the writing pieces. He was the producer. He financed it. He had ideas, but I wouldn't say that he was a great writer. So I would say today, Shonda Rhimes would be someone that I like. And I also like, his name escapes me, but he's the writer for Chicago Fire SUV, the Chicago PD series on NBC. So Law and Order SUV. He's also the writer. I think it's Dick Wolf or something. I can't remember his name, but he's a writer. He writes books, and those books are inspired those television shows.
Is 50 Cent doing a great job with Power?
I was I don't know what you define as great, but I think it's good. It's good. It's well written, good content.
Okay. What about the young guy, something Glover?
What show?
He does like Dirty Rock, or a young guy. He just got he's a rapper too. His name as a rapper is Childish Gambino. It's something Glover. He just won an Oscar or an Academy, something like that. If you don't know him, he must not be that great to you.
I don't know a lot of people, so don't think that. I'm in my own world.
All right, so this is good. So you've actually educated me about the world of writing, and I think you articulated it in a way where even a third grader who likes writing, I mean, you took us all the way to when you were 4 years old and how that whole thing went. So I guess from here we could go. I know you have a book that's going to be soon to be coming out. Is that correct?
Yes, February 10th.
Okay, February 10th, we got a book coming out. What's the name of the book, and what should we be expecting from it? Can we pre-order it? Where do we get it?
Supernatural Intelligence, Identifying and Destroying Counterfeit Kingdoms. And it's really, really it gives you an understanding of, from my revelation, of how I've always seen the world. There's some issues that we have that are flesh and blood issues, and then there are some issues that are not. And these things that we're seeing in the world, whether it's through the pharmaceutical industry, we're seeing the influence of military war, we're seeing the changing of the guards in the White House, and all of these places and things. This walks you through the scriptures, and it breaks the codes, because I believe that the Bible is a coded book. And it's not something that can be read. It must be revealed. And so if you're a reader or avid reader, you won't read it and get an understanding. You'll look at it and it will always be complex to you. But the scripture says in Matthew 4 that the secret things belong to God. No, it's Deuteronomy 29. The secret things belong to God, but once revealed, belong to his children for generations to come. And so there are some secret things or some trade secrets for success that this book expounds on, opens up, points out, walks you through it, takes you by the hand, and shows you what is happening in the world, lining it up with scripture. So you begin to see the influence of this invisible world and how it's influencing what we eat, what we wear, what we put in our bodies, and how we engage and interact with one another. So it's a supernatural intelligence. Is not something, and how this world is framed by the word of God, and how universes were framed. When you look at things like Androids and Google Chromes, or even Guess Jeans, or all of these things that came out of how these things came to be. So it walks you through very, very, it doesn't hit you too hard in the beginning stages, but once you get through it, you'll begin to see the world in a whole nother place, and it'll give you some peace of mind as well.
Where can we pre-order it? Where do we get it?
Pre-order it at my website today at cityofjaybez.com, and on the front page you'll be able to register for the book signing. It's a brunch and release I'm having at a private residence, and if you're in the Washington D.C. metropolitan area, you can register, and the address will be sent to you, and you can join us. Space is limited because it's a free brunch, but the books will be there. I'll be doing a book signing event there. Also, you can pre-order it, and it'll be mailed to you, and then it'll be available online wherever books are sold, including Books A Million. In a few, like 6 to 8 weeks after it's released on Amazon, it'll be available through Books A Million and other bookstores.
Excellent. Last two questions that I have for you is, one is the greatest lesson that your parents taught you, and the other one is the greatest lesson. The greatest lesson you learned in business.
I think I'll start with the business.
Okay.
The greatest lesson I learned in business is to watch as well as pray. I found that any time that I've tried to do something like any other business, or like anything that has already been done, has failed. Anytime that I have stepped out to try to duplicate something that's already been, or in the publishing industry, however, whatever it was, it didn't work for me. Only when I come up with original concepts and ideas do they work. And so looking at someone else's body of work or what someone else is doing has never benefited me. And so I realize and come to the understanding that I'm an original and that what I have to offer has never been offered before. There is no other publisher who does ghostwriting and book coaching. They only publish books. There are companies who do ghostwriting, but they don't publish. And so this one-stop shop, so to speak, and now we're getting into promotions, has never been done before, and it's never been done the way I'm doing it, if it has been done. So staying original, waiting on the understanding and the revelation before I move forward with anything, and allowing my business to pay me back for the mistakes I've made. For example, I have a contract with you, and because I'm integral, if I charge you $1,000, I'm not going to come back to you when I realize it's going to be $1,200. I'm just going to eat the $200 difference because the relationship is what's most important to me, and I want you to have a good experience. And so I'm never going to come back to you and say, well, I thought it was going to cost this, but now it's going to cost me this. So I began to look at creative ways where we can put things in place that would secure the accounts so that we begin to see profit and not take from our personal funds or take from our operational budget and put back into the business because we didn't forecast something. So that's when we created the author protection plan. So instead of us having to duplicate and put out money for incidental costs with authors, we have set it up so that if an author is completed and finished the work, then they certify it. And then once they certify it as, okay, this editing is done, it's certified, or this interior design is done, I certified. Now, if you want to make a change, you got to pay for it. But before, if you want to make a change, I'd pay for it. So those are ways that I've looked at the faults of my business where there was loss and seeing how I can gather up those fragments so there will be nothing lost. And then the things my parents taught me, my mother, who went home to be with the Lord a year and a half ago, at 62, she unexpectedly died.
My condolences there.
Thank you. She was my greatest supporter and voice in this earth. And the greatest gift she gave me was the gift of prayer and faith. And I became a man of prayer and faith. And no matter what has come or what has happened, I've maintained that. And I've given that as a gift to my children and my wife and my family. And so that is something that you can't leave in a will. That's something that you can't leave in a bank account. No court can will, estate, a trust can give you that very thing that will give you the trade secret for success in this world and give you the advantage in this world. And my father has given me, and he's still here with me, and I talk to my father almost every day. My father has given me the gift of tenacity, standing still, never giving up, not taking no for an answer, manning up in the middle of adversity. There is no closed doors. There are no closed doors. There's no problems. There are opportunities. You're here to resolve problems. So when people bring you problems, your response is a solution. And so that is the greatest gift that I believe my father has given to me. And so I hope that answered your questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is it. This is the Billionaire Brown Experience. We're here with writer of all sorts, Mr. Aaron Munson. And Aaron, I always like to ask our guests, like, is there anything, maybe a final message that you would like to leave, or was there a point where I got excited and I cut you off, that you would like to share just as we get out of here?
Okay, well, in closing, thank you for having me. First of all, I really appreciate it. It's been my honor to join you today on this podcast and all of your listeners. And I pray continued success for you, and that your resources will continue to grow, and that people will begin to sow into you and invest into you and give you not just money, but ideas and information, that you'll get information to go to the next level that you didn't have to pay for. And so I just believe that the favor of God will be on your life. As for me, there are a couple of ways that your listeners can connect with me. I'm actively looking for 12 people who are ready to write a book but just don't know where to start. I'm helping you build a book. I'm looking for 12 people who are interested in writing a book today, and they are ready to put a deposit down on their future. And I'm talking about less than $400 or $500 a month to be able to, over the next 12 months, and I'll walk you through the process. I'll write it for you, write it with you. I'm looking for one person who owns a business, whether that's a corporation or a LLC, and you're just looking for a staff writer. You're looking for someone who can take your training materials, your leadership materials that maybe you've done PowerPoint presentations, you've traveled, and you're just looking for someone to convert them into books ongoing. And so I'm looking for a residency. I'm looking for someone who I can work with and write with and produce a book every 3 months for. So you're already a corporation, you already have a staff in place, and you're just looking to add some value to. So you can pay me, you can pay a secretary $30,000 or $40,000 a year to get your coffee, or you can pay me to convert your work that you've already done, and you don't have to do any more work but approve it, into something that will produce money for you and your business. And so you can look at your money going out, or I can help you bring it in. So I'm looking for someone who is looking to hire a resident publisher who will work with them throughout the year, and then convert their teaching series into books, or whatever you like to do. We can work together. And then lastly, I'm looking for people who are already writing books and just need a little help. I'll coach you through that process, whether that's providing a review of your manuscript, giving you an analysis, or strategic plan. And I'm looking for those who are interested in learning more about the publishing industry. We talked earlier about those free ebooks that I can make available to your listeners. I'm here to give those to you. You can email me at publisher@jaybezph.com, or you can also go to the website and sign up to contact me, and I'll contact you. This week is a great week, and so I look forward to hearing from many of you. And again, really looking for those 12 people who are ready to go to the next level today.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is Aaron Munson. Check him out. Follow him on Facebook. Check out his Facebook group, Ask the Publisher. Go email him right now. Get that free information. I know you guys love it. Don't be scared. Again, this is the Billionaire Brown Experience. Till next time, continue to be.
All right. Thank you.
Motivating you to firm, fit, and fabulous. Here is our company website, www.femmefataleFitClub.BigCartel.com. We are a no-judgment zone, here to help any woman ready to take control of her health and well-being. Here's our blog, www.femmefatalefitclub.com. We offer not only personal training services and virtual fitness programs, we also offer products such as water bottles, a cute inspirational tank top for women that says #TeamNoExcuses, and support across our social media channels. Come join the club. Follow us on Instagram at Femme Fatale Fit Club, or join our group on Facebook at Femme Fatale Fit Club. Now back to your favorite podcast.